What are we making in the studio today? I don't know. Let's continue the Austin Powers 3D tumbler that we've been working on. Yes, this is more of a diorama and a trophy tumbler than an actual drinking tumbler, but it's still fun to use that 20-ounce stainless steel base as the starting point. Now, we've already gone through a few different creation videos in this playlist, so make sure you go back and check those out. I will also link that playlist at the very end of this portion of the build. So as you can see here, we do have an amazingly, perfectly created glow swirl tumbler here. We have the top completely open, but as you can see here, we've already got the Dimensional Drinks glitter bottle rings, which are 3D printed from Dimensional Drinks. Their tag will be listed in the description below, as well as a sculpted Sculpt original plate that runs the spine of the cup. We've also went ahead and put a DOS air dry clay ring around the bottom of the tumbler, just to give the base more of a canister-like effect. And then in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be actually working on the topper. Now, this is more of a display topper than an actual functioning working topper, because you can see I do not have an acrylic top to go on it as I sculpt this. This is going to be more of a perfectly fit type of diorama lid that goes on it when I'm not wanting to really drink from it. It's more so just to go on the shelf and look absolutely incredible sitting there as a diorama piece. For those who do follow my artwork, you know that I do like to use a lot of tumblers in my builds, and some of them, or a lot of them, are drinkable, but a lot of them are also just more so just trophies that I sit on the shelves or give to friends and family. Some people purchase them for more like pop culture things in like movie theater rooms in their house or museums and things like that. So we're going to kick this off by applying aluminum foil and saran wrap to the top of the tumbler there, as you can see. And that not only just gives us a nice tight fit, but also it allows us a little bit of wiggle room across the outside edges of the topper as we kind of sculpt that out and over the rim of the tumbler there. So what we'll do is we're going to roll out one good layer of clay, all one piece, and we're going to smush that down first. Now, what that keeps us from doing is having a bunch of seams on the very bottom of that topper. And you'll see later on, after I bake it and pull it out and get all the aluminum foil off of it, it'll be very nice and smooth. If you take little pieces of clay and apply them just a little bit at a time, you create a lot of under-creased wrinkles that are not blended in, because all of that's kind of concealed away. So as we continuously build up, you can continuously build up little small pieces here and there just to build up overall strength, get the build up that we want to the actual height that we need. Now, I was so tempted in my mind's eye to continuously try to sculpt this as more of a like a barrel top. You know, it has like a rim across the top of it, and it's kind of like indented, and then it almost like it has like a ring clamp on it to keep the top on. And that's not what this is. I have to keep reminding myself this is a canister, not a barrel. So this needs to be more of a kind of a canister, which was used to take Austin Powers Mojo in The Spy Who Shagged Me. So if you're just dropping into this video, yes, this is kind of a movie prop, which is also kind of in my own artistic style. So I'm taking that as a reference, but then just kind of running with it in my own way. And it will kind of put a side-by-side in the very end. I'll show you what it looks like. But this is just giving it the top of the canister more of a realistic feel. If I just use the acrylic top to drink out of it, then it kind of takes away some of that look. And when I get done with this topper, it's really going to bring it all together. We are using Sculpt original for this portion of the project here. I'm trying to diversify a lot of the clays that we use during some of these projects. So you'll see me bring in different DOS air dry clays. I might even introduce some other things in the future, moving into some of the other projects, try out some more kid-friendly things, and just show that it doesn't really matter what you use, as long as your creative artisticness comes through and you just make it kind of sound, things really tend to work out. Just use your imagination and really have fun with it. I'm really going above and beyond right here to make sure that the top edges are really smooth and rounded off. I was really kind of leaning towards wanting to kind of square those off and make them very kind of rigid all the way around, more so like an actual like a drum or a barrel. But I'm going to go ahead and hold off, and I'm actually just going to apply a nice smooth lid clay type of texture to it. And I think that it's all going to come together quite well. So you'll see me continuously go back to my silicone tip tool here, just trying to get that nice and smooth. Now, a lot of this I do like to freehand, even if it takes a little bit longer to try to get some of those edges smooth, because I'm trying to make it a uniform circle when I get done with it. It may take longer to do it by hand with finger pressure instead of just using like a mold or a press. to get that cookie-like circle. But I really do think this adds a lot of character to it. It makes it look like that the metal is a little bit more worn and deteriorated. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be cool to make this entire build, the Austin Powers Mojo Canister, in a really super shiny, brand new type look. But I'm wanting to add my artistic spin to the original movie prop whilst using a 20-ounce tumbler to do so, as well as the dimensional drink rings. And into doing so, I'm going to allow my artistic style to come through. So I want this to be very rough. I want it to be kind of rustic. But I also want it to blend pretty well. So later on in this process, you'll see that it doesn't really give me the nice fit or blend into the dimensional drinks 3D printed ring on the top of the canister or tumbler here. And I do remedy that later on in the process. Here I am just finding my center hole point. There will be another video coming out here soon after this one, maybe the next week or so, where you'll see me use this for something else. So just remember that this little hole is going to make a reappearance in the future video later on in the processes. But just it's not designed for drinking. It's not designed for a straw to go down into the liquid below. Just be aware of that. So I do have a little circle here. It's a little cap from another project that I think actually deleted content on, but that's neither here nor there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build up 2 or 3 layers of nice smooth out clay with the lasagna press. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little bottle cap here, or lid top. It's a metal one. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut out a nice little circle here, and I'm going to blend the edges of that circle, and it's going to give me like a deep washer type look. And it's going to make the lid have a little bit of a different level at the very top. So I may even take it one step further in later process videos as we get into later stages of the creation processes. But this portion right here is just for the actual topper, just the circular canister top that's going to go on the very top of the project here. So you'll see I'm going to go ahead and flatten that out, smooth out the edges, kind of get them rolled out pretty good overall, and I'll kind of trim it here and there to get the overall look that I want. Try to trim that bottom out so I don't get too much overhang. Scraping up the bottom a little bit to give a little bit of texture to something for it to grab onto, and then I'm going to gently press that into the existing clay there. And then we're going to get our hole poured out again, and I actually missed the mark on this, and I didn't get it completely straight. Oh dear. So I do have to do a little bit of carving here just to kind of get it in a nice smooth circle, or what appears to be one. And I do smooth out that hole as well, so all of that is one nice entry point into the lower portion of the actual tumbler here. Pretty cool overall, I think, so far. Now we are going to keep this topper pretty simple overall, but I did decide to go ahead and include the sculpting as well as the paint work of this portion of the project into one video, and then we'll go on to the next video in a separate session. As we go into later stages of this process, I will be doing a lot of epoxy work on this, and the epoxy work is going to cascade into different realms of items we're going to be adding to this. So just be aware that I'll be having to come in later, and I'll kind of like break up a few of the videos, so some of the videos may skip around because I'm wanting to really categorize them down into specific things that I'm working on for the project, kind of make them nice, neat, and tidy. So that way, if somebody's just falling into the series out of the blue without seeing all the previous videos, then they can easily just fall into it and just come along with the journey. I am using a wire tool here, and I'm just giving a lot of striations, scraping up the clay there, almost as if it's just got a lot of wear and tear to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and give the very top of that little sculpted ring or washer type texture a little bit something different, and I'm just going to use the side of my sculpting tool to do so. It gives it more of like a textured checker type metal look, and it's going to look pretty cool when it's all painted out. Now here we are in a different day. I went ahead and baked this at 275 for around maybe 15 to 30 minutes or so. I really don't time my sculpture bakes. As long as I feel like they've been in there for long enough, then I'm cool with that. Getting the aluminum foil off of the project here is a little bit cumbersome, but it works out when it's all said and done. And as I stated earlier, when I take off the aluminum foil, that the bottom of the item, because I applied that clay at the very start in one solid piece and mushed it down instead of small individual pieces, the bottom of that circle is extremely smooth. It's extremely good looking. And what we'll do here in a minute, when I get all of this aluminum foil, which is actually really caked in there, I will use a X-Acto knife just to kind of chisel away and smooth the edges of this topper here. Now, because I did use multiple layers of saran wrap as well as aluminum foil before I started building up that topper, when I come in and do like a light one layer epoxy or UV resin clear coat on the bottom of this tumbler lid here, then it should fit quite well. I'd hope not to have to do more than one layer on this project, on the bottom of it at least, to get the desired effect. I just more so just want to paint it like a dark cast iron, which will be later, and then just give it some protection so that way it doesn't like deteriorate, or if somebody were to purchase this later on down the road and I had to say goodbye to it, then it kind of will hold out and it's not just exposed raw clay on the bottom of this display topper here. Using the X-Acto knife there to go ahead and clear away any kind of extra debris from the clay bake here. This is where I pushed the clay down when I was kind of boring out those holes from above. It kind of gives it a little bit of blowout on the bottom of that clay sculpture there. Just smoothing it out, give it a nice little shape there. And I will also hit that with a little bit of sandpaper as well, just to get a little even extra level of smoothness. I wouldn't say it's baby smooth, but it's just smooth enough to where I can go over it with acrylics and it just gives a nice finished effect. Going to go ahead and kind of use the X-Acto knife just to not aggressively scrape, but just scrape off those little pieces of clay that just are so thin because I blended it down into the original build of the canister, that those pieces just would not survive any kind of progress videos or working with it or painting or anything like that. They would just continuously chip off and just leave debris and paint and epoxy, and we just don't need to put up with all that. So here's how it fits so far, and this is at the point where I went ahead and took my first thumbnail there of what it looks like now. It almost looks a little bit like a anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get a nice little sanding on the outside edge, just kind of smooth a little bit of that edge out from where I kind of used the X-Acto knife there. And this is just something small, and just I just felt like it needed just at least one layer of smoothing along the edge rim of this canister topper here. It's a getting there, you guys. I just like to include these parts of the project so you just truly understand what I did along the way to get to a certain point. I know that a lot of people really do like just really edit down their content and material, and I'm not saying that I don't cut out some things, or if a piece of video content will become corrupted, or I just feel like it's truly unneeded, I'll leave that out. But I would hope that a lot of people that come to my channel, not only do they enjoy seeing some of the art that I create, but I like to create not only just a lot of art, but I like to show you exactly how I made it. So even if like a canvas painting video is like time-lapsed extremely, you can still see what I did. And in this situation is I'm not leaving out some major pieces of the process, and you can use anything that you learn off my channel. I'm not a master, but if you learn something from what I did on a particular build, you can turn around and use this in a different way for something that you create. And I hope those that patron my channel and eventually maybe even become members of my channel as I become monetized here on YouTube are really able to not just enjoy but learn the full processes. Do I have fully time-lapse videos that are extraordinarily lightning fast? Yeah, I do. Do I have full-length content that's real-time that are going to be designed for tutorials in the future? Yes, I do. I want to be that artistic channel that not only just people enjoy watching overall, but if you will come to my channel and you don't find the medium or the artistic channel that you need when you come here, it doesn't mean that my channel might not have that here eventually. You know, I really do like my artistic journey to venture out, and I do believe that my channel is allowing me to do that. So if my artistic journey takes me in a specific direction, the likelihood of it showing up here on this channel is very likely. So maybe your artistic journey is like mine, or maybe it's just going down one medium like sculpting or just painting or just epoxy. But the goal is that you're able to enjoy the content overall, even if it's not just something that you watch specifically all the time. It's for everybody. And I hope that you enjoy watching these tutorials and these fun progress and project videos. Yes, I get to rambling, you guys. As you can see, we did hit this with a cast iron. This is all 3 layers of folk art paint. The first one we applied was a nice cast iron, a very thick, very good color, and I decided not to go with Mars Black for the base coats of these. So I did that, apply a nice liberal layer of cast iron, and then we went into a gunmetal gray, also a folk art. And then once I get just a nice dry brush of a dry brush of gunmetal gray, and I let that dry for just a little bit, then we come in with the sterling silver. Yes, because we created such a dark base and we were giving a rough dry brush over these existing dark colors, the cast iron and the gunmetal gray, it really dinges out the overall silver, and that's what keeps it from having that chrome or high level shine that you would see normally in a brand new canister. So here's where I'm kind of taking it off here, and I'm just folding that up to kind of see the comparison between what I have sculpted and painted and the actual 3D printed ring. Now, as you can see here, it's a little bit rougher than what I would like to see. And as I stated earlier in the video, I do go ahead and I use some sandpaper here. And even if I have painted this, which I have, and it doesn't look too bad, I'm still going to go ahead and sand it down. Just because I paint it doesn't mean that I can't paint it again. And that's what I did. I went ahead and sanded it down lightly around that, just the top rounded piece, which I had sculpted with my finger, and then I went ahead and applied a liberal layer of the cast iron, even more so than before, really filling in a lot of those scratches. Now you do still see them after I painted it all over again, but you can see it's muted a little bit. And what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and use the sterling silver here now with them all on top of each other. Nothing separating the different items, the clay and the 3D printed item. And I'm going to use my sterling silver to paint them and blend them together at the same time. And because I'm painting them at the same time together, then some of these brush strokes will translate down onto the actual item. And it's really going to work out pretty good. Now, as you can see, the scratches that I had sculpted into the item are diminished quite a bit. And it looks more so uniform with the item below it. I don't mind it being rustic, and we're going to add a lot of browns and grays and rusts later on in the next video or so. But I still want it to look kind of uniform even before we get to those dingy, dirty, browned out stages. Looking pretty good, you guys. You can really see that texture on the very top that I used with the edge of the sculpting tool. It really give it a nice like a checkered effect. And now I'm just trying to nitpick over the silver and see where I want to build up the layers. It's really coming along, you guys. And although this is a simple part of the project, it really does bring the top of the canister to life. And it really kind of brings up that aspect ratio quite a bit into looking more so like the canister that was used to extract Austin Powers Mojo. Now, we're not done here yet, you guys. Don't worry. We have a few more different videos coming up in the future. We're going to be browning this out, adding the rust. We're going to add some surprises to it. And then, of course, we're going to maybe add some LEDs. Is that a foretelling, maybe? We'll see how it turns out, you guys. But as you can see, this thing has turned out pretty cool overall. I really do hope y'all enjoyed this portion of the tutorial of the Austin Powers Mojo Tumbler Canister. That's a mouthful. Let's just say Austin Powers Stolen Mojo Canister. How about that? Let's leave the tumbler out of it. And of course, we are using dimensional drinks, glitter bottle rings for this project. And I added my own clay and paint to this. And in this video, we made that awesome little topper right there. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you leave a comment below. What do you think about this project so far? And what do you want to see in the future? Is there any other Austin Powers props that I would like for me to try to mimic? I do have some lined up in the future already, but we'll see how long it takes me to actually get to those projects with some of my other workload that I have in the studio. Now, if you want anything from my studio, make sure you visit me at Etsy or at johnbyerlystudios.com. I'll see you guys on the next awesome video. Later, guys.